welcome to Above Replacement Radio. I am your host, Chris Gianta. You know what Christy Mathewson wasn't worried about? SIERA. When you're thinking about Pedro Siriaco, I mean, the only one that can compete is maybe Hannes Wagner's 1908 season. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran.
Like, if we just clip together every time we've talked about him on other people's profiles, we've done a Mickey Cochran episode.
I can't get past Rabbit Marinville. It's not necessarily Hall of Fame. It's not necessarily above average, but we can guarantee you we are better than just the standard replacement level college sophomore.
And welcome to Above Replacement Radio, where we're talking baseball, kind of whenever. I am your host, Chris Gianta. Over to my actual right, as you cannot see on YouTube, is Daniel Curran. How you doing, Daniel?
Chris, I am doing well. We took a bit of we took some time off from actually talking about baseball, but you know what? We're getting right back into it. We only have, I think, 3 shows left in the regular season, which is crazy.
That is true. That is true. And yeah, I mean, it's getting about time. We talked about it earlier in the show. We've kind of grown a little fatigued of the how about that slightly alarming segments. Although I am actually a little excited about my how about that because of his StatCast numbers. But
let's go.
But it does get sometimes a little tiring doing that, and we're happy to talk about the playoffs when it does indeed happen. But I guess, I mean, the one thing, I think the biggest story in baseball over the past week has been probably still the National League wildcard race. The Padres are seemingly dead.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, it just happened.
Like, the Yankees might miss the playoffs, and they're not even like in contention for most disappointing team this year.
Very true, and it's actually pretty funny to think about watching this Padres-Giants series, because if you showed that to me at the beginning of the year, but reversed the Padres and Giants positions, it would make complete sense.
I'd be like, yeah, like the Giants are like, they're hanging around.
Yeah.
And the Padres, hey, you know what? They lived up to the hype.
Yeah. Competing for that National League West, they might take it home. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
But it's the exact opposite.
It's not what happened at all.
Should we talk about the Machado Tatis thing a little bit? Since
I guess. I mean, I don't think it was that big of a deal.
Me neither.
I mean, it was sort of, it just happened to come at just a very bad time for the whole team. And it was kind of just like one random dude in the dugout got it. Like, one random fan next to the dugout just like recorded it. Like, we would have had no idea it happened otherwise, which is, I think, kind of crazy.
Yeah, and I think things like that happen a little more often than you would assume. And I mean, I think the fact that Machado called Tatis the best player in baseball,
while like yelling in his face.
Yeah, I think that just shows like, okay, it wasn't like the team's not crumbling apart, or at least their relationship is not crumbling
apart. It's not. You don't need to read too much into it. Like, this isn't like the beginning of the end. I mean, it might be, but not for that reason. Like, that's not necessarily as symbolic as it might look, I don't think.
Right, and Machado and Tatis are going to be there together for a while. Like, I don't know when Machado's first opt-out is. I think it's after, 5 years into that contract?
Something like that, yeah.
So they're going to have at least a couple years together, and I'd imagine Machado sticks around San Diego.
They're two very similar types of players. I can't imagine they actually hate each other. Like, they probably have a very good relationship, and that was just one bad day.
Yeah, and the intensity is just amplified, and at this point in the year, I don't know what Machado's latest numbers are, but neither of them are like
very average. And I mean, like, since August 11th, which is the day that the Padres started going downhill, he literally has a 100 weighted runs created plus.
Right, but it's not a thing where like one can blame the other for like whatever both of them are like carrying their weight a little bit. Maybe Machado could a little more, but it's not like a thing where he's batting 180 with a 600 OPS over like a 2-month span.
Like, Manny's still one of the better hitters on the team as of late, even with that 100 weighted runs created plus. Just to go over some numbers, like I mentioned, August 11th was the day that the Padres started rolling down the hill. They've lost. I'm going to check exactly what their record was since then. But anyway, since then they have a NL worst, 82 weighted runs created plus. The only team in the majors that's worse than that over that time is the Angels, and then it's the Padres.
That's since August 11th.
Yep. Their record since then is 10-26, the worst in the National League.
Yeah, and I would guess Grisham has a bit to do with that.
A bit.
Yeah, Machado hasn't been
The only
great.
Like offensive player that's been consistently playing well is Tatis. He has a 146 weighted runs created plus. No one else was within 40 points of that. That's qualifying at least. Like Jake Arrieta has 180 or something. He had one single and 4 at bats.
True. Yeah.
He's not even on the team anymore.
With the Padres, it just seems like everyone on that offense has just had their moments and then kind of slumped at some points.
Trent Grisham, by the way, 48 weighted runs created plus, but that's still since August 11th. It's not recently. Eric Hosmer with a 90 weighted runs created plus. Victor Caratini with 7.
Nice.
Yeah, Ha-Seong Kim with 18. Jerickson Profar with 82. Let's see what else here. What else we got? Austin Nola with 70. Adam Frazier with 71.
And wait, what did you say their record was since August 11th?
10-26.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's something. So yeah, I mean the Padres have been kind of on the same road as the Reds. Well, even worse than the Reds. I thought the Padres were more of a long-term slump, but even when you isolate it, it's still extremely bad.
Yeah, that's a month and a half of being the worst team in the National League.
Yeah.
And their Pythagorean win-loss is also the worst, which means they have the worst run differential over that time. It's by far.
To look at the NL West and think the Padres are the worst out of that bunch for a month plus.
I mean, can you imagine telling someone in the month of April or March or whatever that on September 23rd, the Rockies would be 5 games behind the Padres?
Yeah. I mean...
the Padres were supposed to be a 100-win team. The Rockies were supposed to be a 100-loss team. I'm not saying the Rockies have done great. I will give them credit for, I guess, outperforming our expectations on the field this year. But, I mean, if you would have told me they would be 5 games behind the Padres at this point of the season, there's no way I would have believed that.
Right.
No way.
Right. Very true. It is a kind of, the Rockies are outperforming expectations slightly. It's not like they're playing out of their minds, but it's extremely disappointing from the Padres. I mean, it's a thing where where do you go from here after this year? Because I don't think they shouldn't change managers. I think Jace Tingler's just fine.
That's the tough part. I don't know. Is it Preller?
I'm not sure. I mean,
it's very tough to know. I don't know how I'd feel if they got rid of AJ Preller. I don't think I'd want them to get rid of Jace Tingler. I don't think he's the problem. I think the biggest issue here is we don't really know what exactly it is. Is it that maybe it's the hitting coach? I don't know.
It's a weird thing. It's just I don't think it's really a matter of management. It's just the players aren't going out and executing.
That's the problem. You don't know how to fix that in the offseason.
Yeah.
That's the thing that you have the least control over as a front office is how the guys actually perform on the field.
Yeah, AJ Preller did everything he could for this 2021 team.
I don't know. I guess the one thing you could say is that he didn't do enough at the trade deadline.
Right.
Which is definitely fair. But to be fair, Adam Frazier hasn't been holding up his end of the bargain anyway.
Yeah, I think one thing that was mentioned on I think it's Today in Baseball with on John Boy Media, hosted by Chris Rose and Trevor Plouffe. I think Chris Rose made a good point, saying that the energy was a little different when the Padres found out that they were not indeed getting Max Scherzer.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's not an original take of mine. It's something I heard from Chris Rose of formerly of Intentional Talk.
Great baseball mind.
Yeah,
for sure.
He's
one of the guys you'd want to sit down and have a conversation with.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. So I mean, I think a little bit had to do with that. The fact that the Dodgers got Scherzer and the Padres did not. But I don't know how much. I don't know exactly how much of a difference it would make.
Right. Yeah. I mean, You're right. You're absolutely right. Like Max Scherzer or not, that team is way better than 10-26 over any 36 game span.
Very true.
Like I know, like I understand how frustrating it could have been with the reports, and it's tough because I don't even really blame the Padres for not even being able to pull the trigger on that because like the Dodgers had a better offer and they got two different players.
Yeah, true. Yeah, they got Trey Turner.
Like where would Trey Turner have fit in the Padres infield, and what would they have had to do if they got him?
Yeah, he wouldn't have fit anywhere in the Padres, especially after the Adam Frazier trade.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't just gonna kick him out immediately.
Yeah, and were they gonna and like I don't know what would they have? They've already given up a decent amount, man. Like they gave up Luis Patino to get Blake Snell. Like they haven't brought up Mackenzie Gore yet. Like it really feels like the farm system is almost draining for this for a 1 game above 500 team.
Right, and like you would have to go full Dombrowski, and for those who don't know the exact lexicon, going full Dombrowski. Shout out to History of the English Language for that. Going full Dombrowski is just tearing the farm system apart, completely committing to a win now mode scenario. The Padres haven't quite done that, but they're getting close. They haven't traded like C.J. Abrams or Mackenzie Gore or anything, but it's probably the smart thing to do.
They still have a very good farm. It's just that the pieces they traded away haven't been good returns on investment.
Yeah, very true. And like, look at if the Padres might be modeling themselves a little after the Dodgers. Like the Dodgers have never completely stripped away their farm system to go win now. They still have a pretty good farm system.
And even when they did, they traded for Max Scherzer and Trey Turner.
Yeah. Yeah, like that. That's
like
what
they traded their best two prospects to get those guys. And what has Max Scherzer done? He's been the best pitcher in the league and has one of the most dominant pitching stretches ever.
Yeah, and we highlighted him 2 or 3 episodes ago.
Yeah.
I forget. Whenever he got the 3,000 strikeout.
Something like that.
But yeah, I mean, think about all the moves the Padres have made in the past about 12 months and change.
Yeah.
You know, Austin Nola, Mike Clevenger. You know, the Clevenger situation.
Clevenger was
you could not
different.
have really you couldn't have really forecasted. I mean, maybe there were some lingering issues, but maybe that move will look a little better when he's fully healthy by next year, hopefully. Along with that, you go into the offseason, you get Blake Snell, you get Yu Darvish, you get some bullpen help with Mark Melancon, who's worked out pretty well, at least on the field statistics-wise. How much? I'm trying to think if I'm forgetting anybody. They extended Tatis. I mean, AJ Preller's done pretty much everything you could ask for. And I don't think it's a Jace Tingler problem yet. He was someone that both of us thought should have been manager of the year in 2020. So I mean, I feel like the Padres are just at a little bit of a stalemate currently.
Just to go over some of their pitching stats, they are, I believe, 25th in the majors in pitching FWAR since August 11th. The only guy that's really been consistently good for them is Blake Snell, who has a 2.23 ERA. Nabil Chrismat's also been all right, 2.18 ERA and 20 innings pitched. But other than that, Yu Darvish has a 7 ERA over his last 28 innings pitched. But to be fair, he is a little unlucky. That's mostly because of his strikeout numbers. He has a 4.96 FIP, though. That's still not what you want. Right,
exactly.
You don't want that at all. Daniel Hudson's been walking a decent amount of guys, and he's been giving up some home runs. But he still is. He also has a 3.33 bat up against, which isn't great. But still, it's the same thing. And who else? Joe Musgrove has been regressing with a 4.19 ERA, 4.74 FIP. And I guess that's it for like some of the bigger names.
Yeah, it's very, very odd. And this offseason is going to be interesting for the Padres because it's like, how much more can they do? Is it a thing where like you just try to forget about this past year and start on a new slate next year?
I feel like the public perception of the Padres going into next year, like I don't think they can win. Because either they're going to do a lot and people are just going to say it's going to be a repeat of 2021 where they get a bunch of guys and they don't perform well, or they're not going to do anything and we're going to be like, wow, why didn't Preller do stuff? Do you see the two teams ahead of them in that division? Like, do you really think this team can compete?
Yeah.
Like, I think no matter what the Padres do this offseason, we're going to look at that team through the lens of what happened in 2021.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good point you make, because it's like, yeah, you're right. They can't really win, because if they go out and make a splash, it's going to be like all this for a third place finish. That's going to be the meme that's going to be going around.
Like, get ready for that.
Yeah, it's probably going to be annoying to be a Padres fan on the internet over the offseason. But you know what? The Padres fan base was annoying this past offseason as well. So you got what's coming to you.
I'm blaming all this on those kids who make those rap videos.
True.
I think we need to be talking a lot about that.
It's been all downhill since then.
Because technically the team is under 500 since they first started doing it. Because it was before the Dodgers series in the playoffs. They got swept in 3. Now they're 1 game over 500.
Yeah, they're 76 and 78.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we just found the answer right there.
Yeah, I think, we've mentioned, weighted runs created plus, ERA, FIP, but there's no metric to really quantify how bad of an effect those rap videos had.
And that's it. I mean, you said it. Like, it's been, like I said, they didn't win a single game in 2020 after they put out the first one. They kept doing them this year. Look what we got, 76 and 75, virtually out of playoff contention with more than a week left in the season.
Yeah, the XRAP was just very bad.
Yep.
Whatever. I'm trying to create a rap stat, but yeah, those videos, they were tough. They were a little, and it didn't help the Padres at all. We know that.
No.
We know that for sure. I think another thing that needs to be talked about as well is, over the past few weeks before entering like last week, all we were talking about was Reds Padres and how they were going to compete. Eventually it's become the Cardinals.
Yeah, facts.
Because the Reds have done
the same thing.
Exactly the same thing as the Padres. Exactly the same thing as the Padres. They've gone 9-17 in their last 26 games. I'm looking through their schedule, and one of the reasons we were high on the Reds was because we looked at their strength of schedule, and it was always like they have the second easiest road ahead or third easiest road ahead, and they have just not taken advantage of that whatsoever. Let's go down since August 24th.
That's what I'm looking at.
As they have not won a series since, I guess technically you could say August 21st, when they won their second game against Miami. So since August 24th, they lost a series against Milwaukee in Milwaukee. That's going to happen. But then they go to Miami. They lose a series there. They lose a series at home against the Cardinals. They lose a series at home against the Tigers. And we know the Tigers are since May 8th contenders. However, it's a series at home and you're a playoff contender. You should take 2 out of 3 from the Tigers. Then they go to Wrigley with that dead team. They lose 2 out of 3 there. They go to Busch Stadium in St. Louis. They lose a series there. They go to Pittsburgh and they lose a series there. And they lost a series against the Dodgers at home, hosting the Dodgers. And then they split their series against Pittsburgh this past week, but a rain delay stopped the third game, so they could not lose that series as they split it. But they've been 9-17. They've not been facing good competition.
You want to guess who the best hitter on the team is over this time, and like not pitchers. I mean like actually like hitters.
I think I might have taken a peek. It's not Votto.
He's the second best.
Is it? I don't think it's Jonathan India. Is it Jesse Winker?
It's Suarez. Yeah. He finally broke out. All it took was the rest of the team. You want Suarez, you're gonna have to take the entire rest of the roster.
Yeah, talk about isolation.
The Reds also have the second lowest weighted runs created plus in the majors since their select date.
Yeah, that's something I saw. And
Since when did Asdrubal Cabrera sign with them?
I don't
guess
know.
that happened. He's had 23 PAs since August 24th. He's slashing 000, 087, 000, 087 for a negative 74 weighted runs created plus.
Nice.
23 plate appearances. 2 RBI though.
There we go.
Okay.
There we go. But yeah, Cincinnati. You mentioned they have the lowest weighted runs created plus, or second lowest weighted runs created
They're
plus.
one better than the Diamondbacks.
One better than the Diamondbacks, who is, that's not company you want to be in exactly.
They're looking for the number 1 pick.
Yeah, not the company you want to be in at this point in the year. And something I noticed is like, I saw Votto was doing okay.
He's a 129.
India was doing okay. I think Winker was doing okay. I think it's like a lot of the bottom of the order. So since August 23rd, they're 6, 7, and 8 hitters. Whoever lands in that spot have a 571 OPS and a 50 weighted runs created plus. Both of those are last in the National League. So I think it's a lot of their offense has been a little too top heavy, is part of it.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. Their 9-17 record ranks 4th worst in the National League over that time, and also 5th worst in the majors.
Yeah, I mean it's a thing where at least since August 23rd or whatever, I would argue the Reds have blown it worse than the Padres because of who they were facing. Padres, we've emphasized.
And they had the momentum.
Yeah, they had the momentum too. That's a good point.
Like the Padres were kind of staggering between like the months of June through August before they just went on that huge downward spiral. The Reds emerged, had the momentum, and then just blew it. And at the same time, the Cardinals have won 11 in a row.
Right. Really, they have won 11 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's pretty wild. So yeah, the Reds should be of equal what's the word I'm looking for? Of equal slander, not exactly the word I'm looking for. Blame, not exactly the word. That general category of words. But yeah, the Reds should be equally ostracized.
Equally criticized, yeah.
Equally criticized because of, they were riding momentum. They were probably at one point a couple games ahead of the Padres, probably at points like 5 games ahead of the Cardinals. And they simply blew it. They simply blew it. And it's not exactly clear why. It's just overall bad team performance.
Yeah, it's very weird. It was just very random. Hang on, let me look at something real quick.
Maybe, I think the offense is probably the thing you could most look at. Second worst weighted runs created plus in baseball is pretty bad.
The White Sox are about to win the division, by the way.
That's good. That's
yeah,
cool.
Are we still talking about the Reds or? I feel like we got everything out.
I think that reminds me of the Terry Collins video. You got everything out. You got everything out. We can go. All right.
That's true.
Anytime I hear Terry, like the name Terry, I automatically think of him. Terry.
We were in class today, and our professor was going over like an Army-Navy game from like the 60s, and they had some guy named Delbach at quarterback, and I was like, Terry Delbach? From the A's? Right?
I think it was Steinbeck.
Yeah.
Yeah, Terry Steinbeck.
It was Steinbeck, but it was very similar, and I was just like, that guy, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we got everything out about the Reds because it's not a crazy statistical analysis other than 9-17 in their last 26.
Been okay.
Yeah, it's been okay. Like Wade Miley, Sonny Gray, Luis Castillo.
Yeah.
They've been doing all right. I don't think the bullpen's been doing really all that bad.
They're kind of middle of the pack.
Yeah, it hasn't been a case of like certain points in the year, like when the A's were just blowing games up the wazoo for like 2 weeks. It hasn't been like that.
I forgot about that. The A's, that's another team that fell off.
Yeah, and also they were a victim of me and the Blue Jays.
Yeah, they were the Blue Jays. I mean, Marcus Semien alone.
Because
ruined them.
I mean, what are the A's on pace to finish as? They're still probably going to be like an 89-90 win team.
Yeah, but I mean, they're 3 games out of a playoff spot right now. They're in danger of getting swept at home by the Mariners today.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, the Mariners have been playing some good ball recently. I think they have like the second best record in the AL over the last like month or so.
So yeah, the A's are projected to be an 87 win team. So it's just like they didn't like fall off the face of the earth like the Padres or the Reds.
They just didn't keep pace.
They just didn't keep pace.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a team that just didn't keep up, and the Blue Jays were able to storm in and just kind of take over. But I think they're a half game out now at this point.
By the way, the Mariners have won 4 in a row. They're only 2.5 games out of the second wild card. I know they have 2. They'd have to leapfrog the Blue Jays and the Yankees, which would be difficult.
Yeah.
But
how many did you say?
2.5.
2.
They play the A's today. It's gonna be a tough matchup though. It's Yusei Kikuchi versus Chris Bassett coming off the IL.
Yeah,
after his injury.
I think we should outlook what each of these wild card contenders' upcoming schedules are.
I'll start. We're talking about the Mariners. Oh, the Mariners go to. You know what? This could be interesting. The Mariners go to. So they have 2 more series against the Angels. The Angels have been free falling. Like they've been playing some of their worst baseball as of late. They go to Anaheim this weekend to face the Angels. Next week, what do they do? They play the A's at home. And then they play the Mariners, or they play the Angels at home. Like they have if they play good enough ball, we could be talking about a Seattle Mariners wild card appearance.
First time in 20 years.
Yes.
Red Sox have Yankees at Fenway and then at Baltimore, at Washington. So that's something to be optimistic about Red Sox wise, unless they do like significantly poorly against the Yankees. Blue Jays, I think, are done with the Rays.
Yes.
So that's good for them.
After Cardgate.
Wait, what?
Did you see that?
No.
So in the game on, I think, Monday or Tuesday. No, it was Monday. Kevin Kiermaier slid into home plate, and Alejandro Kirk dropped like a piece of paper out of his back pocket, and it was like the scouting report on all the hitters, and he didn't realize that he took it out. So Kiermaier just picked it up and just took it back with him. And I guess the Blue Jays were super angry about that because like that's the one, like if there's one sheet of paper they wouldn't want the Rays to have, it's that one. And they ended up plunking Kiermaier yesterday.
Oh.
You didn't see this?
No, I've been, honestly, over the past like couple weeks, I've been a little out of it.
Yeah, but that happened this week.
That's actually very interesting because it's like...
It's funny because like there's no investigation that can open up. Like the Rays are not going to get penalized because of this.
Yeah, that's the thing where it's like you like the things being played out on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I understand why the Blue Jays would plunk Kiermaier there.
Mm-hmm.
I understand it a
I
little.
also understand why Kiermaier would take that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, why not? Like, Kirk was walking away from the plate. Kiermaier just scored. He was like, I'll take that.
Yeah.
It's in Tropicana Field. Who's going to see it?
Yeah. Yeah. That's very true. Not a lot of witnesses.
Yeah.
I think that's a factor Kiermaier had in his
definitely
head.
no Blue Jays witnesses, like fan-wise.
Yeah.
There's many people traveling down there.
Locked up for like 18 months.
Yeah.
The Blue Jays, meanwhile, they're at Minnesota for 4 games.
That's good for them.
Good for them. Bad pitching, so that's very good for them. Bad pitching against them. Then they go back to Rogers Center to face the Yankees for 3, and then they close out with the Orioles for 3. So similar schedule strength to the Red Sox.
2 bad teams and the Yankees.
And then the Yankees have to face both the Blue Jays and Red Sox, obviously.
And then the Rays.
And then, oh, wow.
Yeah, the Yankees have a tough schedule to finish off. Like, they're going to have to play some... I mean, they just They just swept the Rangers, which, I mean, it is the Rangers, but they did what they needed to do. I mean, they literally, they lost a series to the Orioles recently. They've lost to some bad teams. So, you can say whatever you want about the Rangers, but there have been plenty of times where this season where they've played down to competition, and they didn't do it here at a time where they absolutely couldn't.
Right. They lost at least one series against the Orioles in the past month.
Yeah, it was at Yankee Stadium too.
Yeah, that's so luckily for them, they stepped it up and were able to do what they needed to do against the Rangers. But yeah, tough road ahead for the Yankees. They've got Red Sox, Rays, Blue Jays. That's and Rays or Blue Jays and Red Sox are both on the road. I think Rays should be at the Bronx. I would think. I don't think they're closing out with
it's in the Bronx.
Yeah, they wouldn't close out with a 9-game road stretch, but pretty interesting. So that's kind of where we're at. Shout out to, I think that's WB Mason out there.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, who but WB Mason. So yeah, that's kind of the outlook for the AL wildcard picture as it stands now. As of this recording, Red Sox and Yankees are in. Red Sox have a 1.5-game advantage for the home game, and the Blue Jays are a half game out on the Yankees. And I think the other race I want to get a little bit of an outlook on is NL West.
NL East too.
NL East, yeah. NL East is
Phillies are still hanging around.
Braves are 3 ahead, and in the NL West, the Giants are 2 ahead. So I'm looking at the Giants here on the schedule. Let's take a look. Scroll down. What is their schedule? They have so they close out the series today against the Padres. That's probably going to be happening as this.
That could be their 100th win. Logan Webb versus Yu Darvish today.
Right. 2 very different trending pitchers. Then they go at Colorado versus Arizona versus San Diego.
And at Colorado is tough.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, especially the way the Rockies have played at home this year.
Yeah.
And their offense. So that's by no means a just a rollover there. And then Dodgers, meanwhile, their schedule is going to be, that's not their schedule.
They play the Padres.
They do play the Padres for 3.
Week. Yeah. They play the Brewers at the end of the season. And I don't know off the top of my head who they play this weekend.
So the Dodgers end their series at Colorado at 3 p.m. today as of the recording. Then they go at Arizona versus San Diego versus Milwaukee to end the year. So I think Dodgers have a little bit of a tougher path. So I think the Giants, it would be surprising if the Dodgers took over at this point.
They're only, 2 games out?
2 games out.
They could.
It's
crazy. The Dodgers, I think Fabian Ardaya of the Athletic tweeted they're 34-19 over a stretch or something. They've gained a 1 game on the Dodgers or on the Giants.
Yeah, and I think they had a 13-2 stretch where the exact same thing happened.
The Giants just kept playing well, which is wild.
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable for sure. They've just the Dodgers have just been unlucky in terms of how the Giants have played. And the Braves, they are, and also this could be a situation like 2018 where you get, tiebreakers.
Mm-hmm. I'm rooting for a game 163. I always am.
Oh yeah, Dodgers Giants.
Give me something on that Monday before Wild Card Week.
Yeah, I'm up for that for sure. The Braves finish their series at Arizona today at 3:40. Then they go at San Diego versus Philadelphia for 3. So
that's gonna be a big series.
That's gonna be big. That's like do or die for the Phillies. And then after that, the Braves close it out at Truist Park against the Mets.
That Phillies Braves, that could be a legacy defining moment for this era of Phillies. Because
True.
we've seen them disappoint and frustrate us time and time again. And this season, it feels like they've just been setting up for it. Like they had the lead in the NL East at that one time, and they got swept in Arizona by the Diamondbacks. Like their bullpen has still been their bullpen. Like they can flip the script on everything if they can pull through and win this division.
True, and
especially in Bryce Harper's MVP year.
And the Phillies have a decent road ahead. They've got 4 against the Pirates, which starts tonight. That is in Citizens Bank Park. Then they go at Atlanta, as previously mentioned, and they close it out in Miami, which is not a gimme, but it is the last place Marlins. So,
I think the Nationals are in last.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yep. The Nationals are 1 game behind the Marlins.
Oh wow. So yeah, I mean, definitely looking at the schedules, it's like the NL East. I'm definitely going to keep a bit of an eye on, considering the Phillies' schedule ahead. All right, so that's the outlook presented by WB Mason. Who but WB Mason? All right, so I guess that leads into players to highlight. Any more news that happened?
I don't think so. I mean, I talked about Cardgate briefly. We talked about all the teams. What's remaining?
I learned about Cardgate. All right, so I guess that leads into the Monday, September. No, it's not Monday. It's Thursday. Because we didn't have a Monday.
Yep.
How about that thing? Our Thursday, September 23rd, 2021 edition of... so who do you got for us today?
So I had to overcome some hurdles to get this How About That. And by hurdles, I mean tweeting about him in a way that apparently upsets people. I'm talking about Bobby Delbach, who is slashing 330, 420, 806, 1226 since August 11th. His 217 weighted runs created plus in that time leads the majors. Bobby Delbach has been the best hitter in the major leagues over the last month and a half. In this span since August 11th, his walk rate is 10.9% and his strikeout rate is 23.5%. Before this span, his walk rate was 4.8%. It's gone up over 6%, and his strikeout rate was 37.9%, which was the highest of the 181 players with at least I definitely messed up that qualifier. It definitely isn't the 181 players with 10 batted balls. I think it's like 300 plate appearances. Anyway, also since that date, he is hitting 360 and slugging 920 and has a 540 WOBA against breaking balls. That 920 slugging and 540 WOBA lead the 236 hitters who have seen at least 100 breaking balls in that time. And he is also set to play in his 150th career game tomorrow. And once he does that, he will become the 4th Red Sox player with a 500 slugging percentage and 30 home runs in their first 150 games, joining Ted Williams, Tony Canigliaro, and Will Drapo.
All right. And, well, it could be not true if he goes 0 for 38 tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he's at 516, so it'd be quite the drop.
In an 81-inning affair. But, yeah, he probably was a little overdue for a How About That from us. But he's been extremely good, and, I mean, a little late. He will not be Rookie of the Year, as I thought he would be, but he's making it look a little better of a prediction.
I have no idea who's going to win Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, me neither.
Like, it won't be. You know what sucks, too? Like, Wander, I don't know if Wander is going to come back or not, but, like, he was 4 games away from tying Mickey Mantle's on-base streak for players under 21.
Yeah, it was really unfortunate what happened.
It sucks that he's not going to get there because of injury. And then, obviously, next season he's going to be 21, so.
Yeah, that does stink. Very, very bad. My How About That? I'm sticking in the AL wildcard race. I'm looking at Lourdes Gurriel Jr., who in the month of September is hitting 360 with an 1184 OPS. Out of the 176 qualifiers in September, his slugging percentage ranks second, and his OPS ranks fourth. And despite him hitting .360 in the span, his expected batting average is still higher by 20 points. Before the span, his average exit velocity was 88.3 miles per hour, and in the span, it is 95.0 miles per hour. It's up 6.7 miles per hour.
Averaging a hard hit ball.
Averaging a hard hit ball, yes. Before the span, also, his hard hit rate was 38.5%, and in the span, it is 68.9%. Over 2/3 of his batted balls are hard hit. Before the span, his barrel rate was 7.4%, and in the span, his barrel rate is 24.6%. And along with that, his walk rate in the span has gone from 5% before the span and 11% in September, which is when the span started. And out of 117 players with 50-plus batted balls in the month of September, Gurriel Jr.'s average exit velocity ranks 6th. He is first in hard hit rate, and his barrel rate is second behind Bryce Harper, who will likely win MVP. So, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. getting a...
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that a comeback special?
It is an ARR comeback special, as he was a slightly alarming of mine.
Way back.
Way back.
It was before we went home for summer break, because I remember we were in the other room across campus.
Oh, right. Yeah. That was about 4 months ago. So he has come back around, and he was both of our players to watch.
Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. I'm rocking my pants, putting suckers in fear.
Speaking of NL MVP, I think I can guess who the finalists are going to be.
Based on like the F4 leaderboards.
I think it's going to be Harper, Soto, and Burns.
Burns.
Yeah. I think Burns is going to get top 3.
So you're leaving Tatis out of it.
I am, because of the injury, and then I'm also leaving Muncy out of it.
I'd have to look into it a little more. But yeah,
I feel like
it's not. Yeah, I think it's an interesting.
I mean, Soto has like a .530 on base percentage in the second half.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous.
I know. I was actually looking at it earlier. The top 3 NL position players in F4 are Harper, Soto, and Tatis in that order. But I believe Burns might have a higher F4 than all of them.
That would make sense because he has like one of the all-time greatest FIPS.
Yeah. So something to consider. It's just a matter of the Cy Young vote and MVP vote is going to teach us a lot about like what voters might think about underlying numbers or what have you. I think it's going to be
true. That is very true.
It might be a big moment in the voting history.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be a big moment for progressive, for progressive thinking, for the new age.
Right.
Yeah, I do think Burns is going to win it though. I do have some optimism in that.
Also, I think what should make you a little optimistic about the Burns pick is also 2018 AL Cy Young vote. I think Snell had like 34 less innings than Verlander, and Snell was still able to win because of his, but it was mostly because of his ERA, not exactly like FIP or what have you.
Burns still needs 4 innings pitched to qualify for this season.
Right.
He's at 158.
That is true. So now we go from the highs to the lows, where we're talking players or subjects that have been underperforming. So now for our Thursday, September 23rd, 2021 edition of what do you have for us today?
So I am talking about a guy who I talk about a lot on this show, and this is an overdue, slightly alarming. So I'll just do it. Carlos Santana. Hasn't been the Carlos Santana I like to see. Since July 9th, he is slashing 162, 238, 240, 478. His 33 weighted runs created plus is second worst among the 147 qualifiers over that time. The only person worse than him is Cody Ballinger, another slightly alarming, which is nuts. His 9.1% walk rate over that span is 6% lower than where it was before the span. It was at 15%, now it's at 9%. His ground ball rate over that time is 51.9%, which is the 24th highest of the 235 hitters with at least 100 batted balls since then. And out of the 23 players that are ahead of him, all of them are ahead of him in sprint speed, and all but 4 are in the top 50 percentile. So he's not drawing the walks that he's supposed to, and he's hitting the ball on the ground when he's a 60th percentile sprint speed DH.
Yeah. Carlos Santana.
That's not what
Oh,
that's
wait.
not what Carlos Santana gets.
That's my bad.
Awkward.
Carlos Santana with a 478 OPS. Carlos Santana.
Surprised that hasn't happened before. We almost made it 2 seasons.
Honestly, you know what? I'm proud of the. You know, I'm not upset that happened. I'm proud the streak was so long.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
It'd be very funny if you did that for Trey Grisham last week. Because honestly, that was deserving of a how about that too.
Because you did have a how about that
Yeah.
in terms of it was like
Arguably the worst 9-game stretch in the history of the San Diego Padres by position players.
Yeah, and you had a thing on like it was like the only thing with a certain low batting average, certain low OBP, certain low slugging. So it was kind of a how about that, but it was for a slightly alarming.
It was very bad. It was more than slightly alarming.
Yeah, it was
Very alarming.
It was actually very alarming.
You know what? That's what it should be called when we give someone multiple slightly alarmings instead of frozen.
Actually, yeah, I agree with that.
Michael Conforto, very alarming.
Yeah. Austin Riley got how about these, and Michael Conforto was very alarming.
We're gonna retroactively change that, even though
We
it was
will.
like 2 months ago.
We'll do that. I mean, it only happened once, so. My slightly alarming is someone who I've been pumping up since we were in that studio, and who has just been having a terrible 8 starts. I'm talking about Hyunjin Ryu. You know, Blue Jay, how about that? Blue Jay, slightly alarming as well. And he's someone who I would say, shouldn't be in the playoff rotation when that comes around, unless he turns it around in his next 2 starts, because in his last 8 starts, he has an 8.10 ERA and a 5.12 FIP. Out of the 111 pitchers who have pitched 30-plus innings pitched in this 8-start span, his ERA is the second highest. Along with that, entering this year, since 2017, his highest hard hit rate, or I guess what I should say is his highest hard hit rate from 2017 to 2020 was 31.4%. But in this 8-start span, his hard hit rate is 49.2%. Almost half of the hard hit balls against, almost half of the batted balls against him are hard hit, and that is not a recipe for success when you are not a strikeout pitcher. You know, like it wouldn't matter so much having that high of a hard hit rate if you were Corbin Burns, let's say. And also in this span, hitters are doing particularly well against his curveball, where they are 4 for 8 with 2 home runs and a 1250 slugging percentage against that curveball. So Hyunjin Ryu,
Slightly alarming.
unfortunate, you know, but he's someone I had to do. So that does it for players to highlight for good and bad reasons. Now we will get into a preview of the weekend ahead. We've got some good baseball coming up. I will go over the series to watch. Daniel will go over the day-by-day matchups. I think the obvious series to watch this weekend is Red Sox-Yankees. They currently both own wild card spots in this American League playoff picture. That's going to be, by and large, the most important series of the weekend. And what else?
You got to talk about Rangers-Orioles.
Yeah, I mean, Rangers-Orioles, let's take a look at their record. I mean, maybe the you know, you got the Orioles here. They're competing. They're trying to get that number 1 spot. They're trying to repeat.
It's them in Arizona.
They're trying to repeat as the or not repeat, but they're trying to take it back to 2019 or actually 2018. Actually, they got the 2019 first pick. They're trying to bring it back to 2018 and reach that dynasty, go 2 2 times in 4 years. But yeah, and then I guess the other series to watch is Padres Braves. Mostly for the Braves, I would say.
Yeah, wow. Padres doesn't even matter anymore.
Pretty much, yeah. So what do you got for the day-by-day matchups?
So on Thursday, first of all, Max Scherzer is pitching right now. That's another person who I think he could be in the MVP race as well. His ERA currently sits at 2.07. We could be looking at a sub-2 by the end of the day.
Right.
And I mean, with the amount of time it's been since he's given up a run, it's very possible. Chris Bassett is currently making his return to the mound. That game is about to start. You have... What do you have? Steven Matz versus Michael Pineda in Blue Jays and Twins. Lance McCullers Jr. versus Alex Cobb in Astros Angels. Alex Cobb has actually been a lot better than most people realize. Aaron Nola will be going for the Phillies against the Pirates. And matchup of the night, of the afternoon, actually, Luis Castillo also pitching for the Reds. Matchup of the day comes from the aforementioned Giants Padres, Logan Webb versus Yu Darvish start. So you go into Friday. As you start your weekend, Jack Flaherty will be pitching the second end of the doubleheader for the Cardinals at Wrigley against the Cubs. You have Sonny Gray pitching for the Reds against the Nationals. That's a good matchup. I don't know if it's matchup of the night, though. You have Dylan Cease versus Shane Bieber in White Sox and Indians, a.k.a. Guardians. You have Carlos Hernandez of the Royals, who is a flamethrower who a lot of people don't exactly know about. He's an interesting guy going into next year. He'll be facing off against Casey Mize in Royals and Tigers. You have Alex Wood pitching for the Giants against the Rockies. You have Eric Lauer pitching for the Brewers against the Mets. You have Jose Barrios pitching against his former team in Minnesota.
Yeah.
You got his homecoming. You have Logan Gilbert pitching for the Mariners against the Angels. He's been trending better lately. You have Tony Gonsolin pitching for the Dodgers against the Diamondbacks. Max Fried pitching for the Braves against the Padres. Frankie Montas pitching for the Athletics against the Astros. Matchup of the night comes from Red Sox Yankees. You have Garrett Cole versus Nathan Eovaldi. Possibly a wild card preview.
Yeah, Nathan Eovaldi, by the way, trending pretty well, and
also has much better stats at home.
Yeah, and extremely good FIP, which might have a little something to do with the discrepancy. Might have a little to do with the Red Sox defense, as has been kind of bad this year, at least with advanced metrics. And then, the first year of that Eovaldi contract, we were like,
this sucks.
We were like, this is not living up. But he's kind of lived up to the contract, which is nice.
All-star this year, AL leading 2.72 FIP. Only problem is he has a bat up against that's brutal.
Yeah, I didn't mean to take over that. It's just I wrote a thing why you should love the Nathan Eovaldi deal, and I feel redeemed a little bit this year.
You wrote it in 2018?
I wrote it when they signed him in 2018, yeah.
Yep. So going into Saturday, you have Nestor Cortez pitching for the Yankees against the Red Sox. You have John Lester pitching for the Cardinals against the Cubs. That's another homecoming.
Oh, yeah.
It's weird.
He was there very recently.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
Ranger Suarez will be going for the Phillies against the Pirates. Sean Manaea will be going for the A's against the Astros. That's a good matchup. You have John Means going for the Orioles against the Rangers. You have Rich Hill versus Corbin Burns. That's two different types of pitchers. That's the way to say it.
Rich Hill versus Corbin Burns. I want to see some overlays by Pitching Ninja.
You have Robbie Ray facing the Twins in what could be his Cy Young audition. You have Lance Lynn pitching for the White Sox against the Indians. You have Huascar Ynoa pitching for the Braves against the Padres. You have Kershaw versus Gallen in Dodgers and Diamondbacks. Anthony DeSclafani facing John Gray in Rockies versus Giants. Giants-Rockies. Matchup of the night comes from the All-Florida series, Marlins-Rays, where you have Sandy Alcantara versus Shane McClanahan.
Sandy Alcantara, yeah. Watch for that radar gun.
I think McClanahan throws pretty fast-ish.
No, I'm being serious.
Yeah.
I'm not even being facetious on that. Alcantara throws
Yeah. Oh yeah, Alcantara. Yeah. What am I talking about?
Alcantara throws 100,
gas.
and McClain. Yeah, usually I'm being sarcastic when I say something like
Yeah.
that, but no, seriously, that's
No, for real though.
a good StatCast matchup.
On Sunday, you have Josh Rogers facing off against Tyler Mahle in the finale of Nationals Reds. You have Jesus Luzardo and Shane Baz facing each other, two young guys in the All-Florida series. You have Carrasco versus Peralta in Mets Brewers. You have Manoah going for the Blue Jays against the Twins. You have Kevin Gausman versus Antonio Senzatella in Rockies and Giants. You have Marco Gonzalez going for the Mariners against the Angels. You have Julio Urias going for win number 19 against the Diamondbacks. Matchup of the day comes from White Sox and Indians. Lucas Giolito versus Tristan McKenzie.
I need to see Urias get 20 wins and not even finish like top 5 in the Cy Young vote.
Yep.
Because what's Corbin Burns' record?
Probably not that good.
And I think Zach Wheeler's record is not great either.
10-4. I mean, it's still good, but
it's good win percentage wise, but like, yeah, Zach Wheeler is 14-9. Oh, he's won 4 in a row. Didn't know that.
Dude, a 1.58 FIP.
Crazy.
That's not supposed to happen ever.
So yeah, I guess that that was Sunday that you just finished, right?
Yep.
So yeah, that does it for the 151st installment of Above Replacement Radio. We hope you enjoyed this one. If you want to follow us on social media, follow me on Twitter at Chris_Gianta. Follow Daniel on both Twitter and Instagram at Daniel_Curran, and follow the show Instagram at Above Replacement Radio for all the show needs. And we hope to...
By the way, shout out to Adam Wainwright on getting his 2000th strikeout just now.
Yeah, congratulations to him.
Big time. Needed that one today. He got that one.
He did. After failing to do it with 3 left, he's accomplished his goal. So yeah, he was a how about that. He's been having a pretty nice resurgence, at least this year. So shout out to him. And we hope you enjoyed this one, and we hope to see you on Monday for what should be a very, very good episode where we're going to be talking all the happenings in Major League Baseball. Once again, see you then.
This conversation is over.